It's Patrick Hutzel from IntensiveCareHotline.com, where we instantly improve the lives for families of critically ill patients in intensive care, so that you can make informed decisions, have peace of mind, real power, real control, and so that you can influence decision making fast, even if you're not a doctor or a nurse in intensive care. This is another episode of Your Questions Answered, and in last week's episode I answered part 1 of My partner is in ICU after a motor vehicle accident with a head injury and is not waking up after 3 weeks. You can check out the answer to last week's question by clicking on the link below this video. In this week's episode of Your Questions Answered, I want to answer the next part of this question from one of our readers, and the question this week is: my partner is in ICU after motor vehicle accident with a head injury and is not waking up after 3 weeks, part 2. This question, or this series of questions from Jessica, formed part of a one-on-one phone counseling and consulting session with me. So, here's Jessica's update from what has happened since our last episode. Hi Patrick, thank you so much for all your help and insights. My partner had an MRI scan yesterday and it wasn't as bad as they had expected. In fact, I think they were quite surprised. I was called to a meeting to discuss the results and thought I'm going to be strong in this and not get emotional or make any quick decisions. They say he should awake. They said he does have a small bleed on the brainstem, not as bad as they expected, but there is severe damage to the basal ganglia. This could lead to problems with movement down the left side and personality changes, saying he will never be the same person again and that he may need long-term care. But just as you said, they admitted that brain injuries are such an open book and no two people are the same. One of the doctors agreed the brain can kind of heal itself. At least now they are talking about the things that you have mentioned before and making a plan for neuro rehab when he awakes. All his friends from the start have said that he is a fighter, and I know he is, and he is the most resilient person I have ever known. He's got through the Gulf War in the 1990s and also problems when serving in Northern Ireland with the IRA. Physically, he's got through things like broken legs, ankles, and I know that can't really be compared to what he's going through at the moment. But he's a strong character. He's never really been afraid of anything. Obviously, the doctors don't know any of this. They don't know his personality. When I have thought negatively about it, it's his friends, as well as your website and your counsel, that keep me going, as he's the last person that would give up. He has got a lot to live and get better for. He loves his career, his friends and family, and has a young child he adores and would do anything to see, have fun with and care for again. So thank you very much for all your help. Myself, his family and friends are staying optimistic and won't give up for him. We are hoping he awakes soon and takes things from there, but at least now the doctors are planning some neuro rehab, which they haven't mentioned until now. I'm relieved but scared at the same time. I know I have to stay positive. Thanks from Jessica. So, here's my response. Hi Jessica, that is fantastic feedback. I'm so glad that they finally give you a more positive and probably also more realistic outlook. As I have said before, brain and head injuries are an open book indeed, and they come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. Giving up is not an option, and you wouldn't do yourself, your partner or his family a favor if you were to throw in the towel. Nevertheless, you may have to brace yourself for a relatively long time to wait until your partner may wake up and also get off the ventilator and the tracheostomy. As I have mentioned before, waking up after an induced coma, and waking up after a severe head and brain injury may take days, sometimes weeks, and sometimes even months. It's so difficult to predict. The bottom line is that your partner will take as much time as he needs to wake up after the induced coma and the head injury. The good news is, like we mentioned before in our last counseling session, that your partner didn't have any surgery on his brain and he didn't need the intracranial pressure monitoring for more than a week. Those are all good signs. And once again, it's nothing new that intensive care teams can be very bleak and also blunt in their negative outlooks in order to protect their professional reputation and stay in control of the communication and the results. Unless you are sensitive to the dynamics and the communication style, you and your partner's family would feel completely taken aback and intimidated by the perceived power and the perceived authority from the intensive care team. Therefore, it's extremely important that you put things in perspective here, as 3 weeks in intensive care after the induced coma, the head and brain injury, as well as the multiple surgeries your partner underwent, is not a very long time frame at all. It's still very early days in the bigger scheme of things. There is a very good chance that your partner will wake up and come out of the induced coma soon, and then they can focus on weaning him off the ventilator and the tracheostomy. Therefore, it was a good decision that your partner had a tracheostomy, as this was doing 2 things for him. Firstly, it reduced the amount of sedation and painkillers he needs, and therefore he can wake up quicker. And the second thing a tracheostomy has done for your partner is it's actually buying him time to wake up in his own time, as the tracheostomy can be a lot easier tolerated than a breathing tube or an endotracheal tube. Now you can relax a little bit, given that the intensive care team has changed their point of view from a negative and doom and gloom picture to a more positive outlook, wanting to get your partner into rehabilitation. Now you can focus on supporting your partner in waking up in his own time and be there for him. There is a very good chance that by the time your partner is waking up, that he will be confused, agitated, delirious, or even aggressive. Be prepared for that, and also get ready to see a change in his personality, at least in the short term. There is also a very good chance that by the time your partner is coming out of the coma, that with the tracheostomy in place, he will be unable to communicate properly, especially if he's still confused. This can be very frustrating for all parties involved, you, your partner, and also the doctors and the nurses. It's often very difficult to manage a critically ill patient who's unable to communicate because of the tracheostomy and the confusion. Therefore, while we are all wishing your partner will wake up as soon as possible, there is a chance that the next steps after he has woken up will be challenging as well. Therefore, Jessica, stay strong and positive. So, how can you become the best advocate for your critically ill loved one? Make informed decisions, get peace of mind, control, power, and influence quickly whilst your loved one is critically ill in intensive care. You get to that all-important feeling of making informed decisions, get peace of mind, control, power, and influence when you download your free instant impact report now by entering your email below. In your free instant impact report, you learn quickly how to make informed decisions, get peace of mind, real power and real control, and how you can influence decision making fast whilst your loved one is critically ill in intensive care. Your free instant impact report gives you in-depth insight that you must know whilst your loved one is critically ill or is even dying in intensive care. Sign up and download your free instant impact report now by entering your email below. In your free instant impact report, you learn how to speak the secret intensive care language so that the doctors and the nurses know straight away that you are an insider and that you know and understand what's really happening in intensive care. In your free report, you will also discover how to ask the doctors and the nurses the right questions. Discover the many competing interests in intensive care and how your critically ill loved one's treatment may depend on those competing interests. How to eliminate fear, frustration, stress, struggle and vulnerability even if your loved one is dying. You get 5 mind-blowing tips and strategies helping you to get on the right path to making informed decisions, get peace of mind, control, power and influence in your situation. You'll get real-world examples that you can easily adapt to your and your critically ill loved one's situation. How to stop being intimidated by the intensive care team and how you will be seen as equals. You'll get crucial behind-the-scenes insight so that you know and understand what's really happening in intensive care and how you need to manage doctors and nurses in intensive care, and it's not what you think. Thank you for tuning into this week's Your Questions Answered episode, and I'll see you again next week in another update. Make sure you also check out our blog section for more tips and strategies, or simply send me an email to support@intensivecarehotline.com with your questions. Or you can call me, find international phone numbers on our contacts tab. Also, check out our ebook section where you get more ebooks, videos and audio recordings, and where you can also get one-on-one counseling and consulting with me via Skype, over the phone or via email by clicking on the products tab. This is Patrick Hutzel from intensivecarehotline.com, and I'll see you again next week in another update.